There's a difference between working in a bank and being a banker. So just because you work in a bank doesn't make you a banker. It just means you're processing for the bank. But these jobs and these roles have really no business to be within banks. And these jobs should lie with the center of excellence or the entity which has a domain expertise to be able to serve them. And this realization is important. So this entire bundling of a bank to make it into this complex, gigantic animal of this 1,000-ton gorilla is really what's working against banks. Banks need to unbundle themselves. And what are fintechs doing? They're doing exactly that. They're hitting banks at the core by unbundling the bank and making sure that they take the meaty bits of the business and take over the customer ownership while they leave the regulation heavy, transaction heavy, process heavy, and compliance heavy transactions to the bank. So here is a very funny situation where bank is really the railroad to many of these fintechs, and talk about open banking, talk about PSD2, talk about all the gizmos that you may mention. All this requires the railroad of banks. But just imagine these banks are running razor thin on returns, but are carrying all the risks. And then most of the banks are also subscale over time. And the cost of capital is high. The cost of risk is high. And you're sitting in an environment which is laced with liquidity. So you talked about hurling 10 grenades at me, but we are sitting in in a field of landmines. And the banking industry actually functions within that.